The Last of Us Episode 7. Episode 7 takes a step away from the main story as it focuses on DLC from the first game called Left Behind, and it focuses on Ellie and her friend Riley, and it's set before the events of Ellie getting bitten. It was always going to be interesting how they'd weave this storyline in and when they were going to do it in the series, but they have actually done it at a similar point to the game. In the game, when you play the DLC, you cut between Ellie scavenging for Joel whilst he's injured and Ellie and Riley in the shopping mall, so it kind of works out the same way here. I don't remember the DLC all that well because I only really played it the one time, so I can't make a whole lot of comparisons, but what I can say is the adaptation was, no surprise, really good here. Very entertaining, and I was hooked from start to finish. I wasn't sure if I was really looking forward to this episode. I can't say I was all that much when I saw that this is where we were going to be going, because obviously it means we were taking a step away from the main story, but honestly, this little sidetrack was actually a very solid episode. Ellie got to be the star of the show here alongside Riley, played really well by Storm Reid, and their dynamic and chemistry on screen was very entertaining. This is once again an episode that is low on action and low on infected, but for this episode it didn't feel like those were missing elements. It didn't feel like an episode that needed those things or required those things, and it felt like if those things had really been abundant in this episode, it wouldn't have felt right. What we got here instead was just a very interesting sort of character study of someone we know before she meets Joel and then her friend, and it was just a very interesting study of these characters in this situation where they just get to be kids again in a world that is just falling apart. The set design here was very cool. I know it's a mix of practical and CG, but the way it all blends together to create what feels like an authentic environment is very impressive, and that allows you to just really get immersed and sort of understand why these characters are having so much fun in this situation, because it's kind of like every kid's dream to be in an abandoned shopping mall anyway, but when you can't even go to the mall anyway, you can understand why this is just so much fun for these two characters. The purpose of this episode here is to show Ellie's first love and first loss, and of course the events that lead to her and Riley getting bitten. All these elements were done really well, and as I said, you do really feel the chemistry between these two characters. You feel the love, and you feel how bittersweet it all is when they really go from sort of the highest high to the lowest low, in a matter of minutes, because of the events that unfold in this abandoned shopping mall. It's once again showing how damaging disinfection is. All it takes is one, and it makes everything spiral out of control. It makes someone suffer, these characters suffer like the worst pain that they can possibly imagine. And again, today's episode was a very, another defining example of how true that is. I don't think there's loads to say about this episode. I don't think it's the best episode, but what it did was sort of seemingly step away from the main story and weave in this other story that's set before everything we've already seen, and it managed to make it come across seamless by still having just the occasional short scene with Joel and Ellie in our present storyline. So I think the way they sort of merged it all together and made it seem coherent was very effective and very well done as always. And it did all this whilst telling a wholesome but bittersweet story of Ellie before she met Joel. I would give today's episode an 8.5 out of 10. So we've only got 2 episodes left now, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing how they round this story off, and just whether they're going to round it off in a way that's as impactful as the game. But yeah, if you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.